So let's go right ahead. In the previous tutorial we made the legs and we're going to focus on the body in this tutorial. So let's just unhide the original character's geometry, and with the hair selected we're going to go up into the hierarchy of the model, and we're doing that by hitting the up arrow button. So basically what that means is if we go to the left here, we can go into the outliner, and the outliner is basically a place where all your things that you have in your scene are listed. So you have the cameras, you have your geometry, those are the legs that we made, and this is the geometry of the original character. But let's see it like this. If I hit this plus button, I see all the shapes in this group. So this is a group and these are all the shapes. So if I, for example, select this shape and I hit the up arrow key, it goes up in the hierarchy and then it basically selects the entire group. Now that's really easy to select stuff. So I'm just going to move everything to the right, and I'm going to select the geometry of the body, and I'm going to go to this layer, and with right mouse button hold down and drag, I go to remove selected objects. Basically what it does, if I now hide the layer again, this will stay because we removed it from the layer. Now I'm going to add the leg because we don't need that anymore as a reference. I'm just going to add that again back to the layer. So we can just focus only on this. Now I want to also hide these, but because these are the final model, I'm going to add them to another layer just by selecting them and hitting this blue ball icon like we did before. So to make it a bit easier, I'm going to rename it. So clicking on it quickly opens up this edit layer menu, and we're going to call this old model or ref ben and save. And we're going to do the same, just so double tap on this layer, and we're going to say new Ben. Let's hide both layers and let's focus on the body. So the body is basically a sphere with a little bit of division, and it's pulled out a bit and squeezed in. So how can we make this? Let's go to create and we go to polyprimitive and we say sphere. Now it creates a small sphere, and what you also already see directly is that it has a lot of subdivision, but we don't need that many. So we go to the channel box again, and we're gonna call and click on this input polygon sphere. If we click on it, it gives us some options, and we select by dragging, click and drag, we select these values, and let's hit 8 and we hit enter. Now, of course, this is again very blocky, so we can just hit 3 on the keyboard and it becomes nice and smooth. Now, another thing that I want to show you guys is that we can also switch from camera. So now we've only been using one camera, but there is actually multiple cameras in Maya, and you can see them also here in the outliner. So right now we're looking through this perspective camera, but we can also look through the front camera. Now there's a couple of ways to get there, but I'm going to show you the most easiest way, and that's basically if you have the front camera selected, you click and drag and you just let go. See what I did? I just select it, I left mouse button, I click and drag it into the screen. Now another way is to go here into the panel, and then you can see the perspective and the orthographic cameras. So if I want to go and click, I go to the front view. Now let's go and we go to orthographic, and then we go to side view. And let's stay here for a while. So let's zoom out a little bit. We select the sphere, we hit R, and we're going to make it a little bit bigger in all directions. Then we hit W and we're going to move it up. So now a little bit tricky is that we cannot see it anymore because it's behind the other sphere or the body. So how can we solve this? We just hit 4 and now we can see it again because we're basically just looking through it. Let's go and switch to vertice mode. So with the right mouse button, with the object selected and with the right mouse button down and click and drag, and we go to vertex mode. So we're going to select these top vertices. We're going to go and click R for scaling, and we're only going to scale them in the x-axis. So we're going to scale them a little bit in. Then we're going to go to W. We're going to go to the move tool, and we're going to move this part up. So I'm going to go back to R just to move it out a bit again. And so we can basically match this shape. Now, of course, now this is a shape, but you can also use a drawing. And I'm going to show you also how you can do that really easily. So with still in vertex mode, we're going to deselect the vertex we had, and we're going to select this row, and then R, we're going to move them out. It's this way. And an important thing to notice is that I'm actually scaling the vertices now in two directions. By clicking on this yellow cube here in the middle, I'm scaling them outwards in all directions. So let me go to the perspective view. So let me go to the perspective view by going to Panel, Stereo, Perspective, and then Perspective. If I click this yellow one, I'm scaling them in all directions. So not just in this direction or that direction, but in both at the same time. So we go back to the side view, and we're going to select these as well, and we're going to move them down so that they match with this line. And then we're going to select these, we're going to move them out, and then we're going to select these also, and we're going to move them up, and we move only that one a bit up. So we're basically just matching the shape, moving it a bit out, a bit down. Okay, so let's do just one more tweak here, and we're going to move this bit up. And let's go back to the perspective view. Okay, so we're going to hit 5. Now, fair enough. I think that we just overall want to scale it a little bit out more. And we want to maybe do a little bit. So I'm just selecting the entire ring here. Move this a bit out. And you can just tweak this as you like. So it doesn't really matter if it's exactly the same. So let's go to object mode and select the geometry, click and drag with the right mouse button, and we go to assign new material. Let's select V-Ray material, and the attribute editor opens up, and we go to the diffuse color, and I just use blue for now, and then I move towards the pink. A little bit down, a little bit lighter, a little bit down. See, I kind of like to use pastel color, make it a little bit more pinkish. Okay, great. So deselect. Now, an important step again with this geometry now is that if we select it and we look at the channel box, there's still some well, we didn't do any extrusions, we didn't use any tools, so there's no real history on the geometry. But still we want to clean any history we might have had. So with the geometry selected, we're just gonna do history, clean history. And we see that the scale is not set to 1, and the rotation and translation are still also not entirely to 0. So we're just gonna hit freeze transform and history once more, and now our shape is clean, it's zeroed out, and the scale is set to 1. This is how we want to have it basically. Okay, so let's get back the legs back, and this is how we are building each part step by step. Okay, great. So let's go to the next tutorial where we'll be covering how to create the hair.